Rev up your engines!
Well, things are getting so bad for Ford. Guy who works for Ford just sent me this. He says, Scotty, you see, this is interesting. They can't sell their cars, so now they're trying to give special deals to the people who work for Ford to try to get rid of the stupid thing. This guy gets a letter, and it's called D-Plan Employees and Family Specials. They're saying $8,000 off 2023 Mach-E's, this fake Mustang. $10,000 off 2023 electric trucks. They can't get rid of those either. So they're sending internal memos to the workers. Please, please, buy our cars. We'll give you all kinds of money off. Because I can't sell the stupid things. Proving that the Mach-E is a failure. The Ford Lightning pickup electric truck is a failure. They are failures. And they're telling us we're all going to be driving electric cars in the future. They're trying to push them off on their own employees because they can't get rid of the things. They got to get them that much of a discount. $10,000 off, right? Hey, all I got to say is, here's the hilarious thing, right? Ford just raised the prices of their F-150 normal trucks. They're selling, oh, we need more money. Let's charge more for them. Let's rip off our clientele. I've seen F-150 loaded that were $83,000 for an F-150, but it's a loaded one still. That's a lot for pickup. But not the Lightnings, massive failures. Mach-E, massive failure. That'll tell you the future of electric cars, massive failure. But Alicia says, why are my new brake pads squeaking? I put new brake pads on all sets on my 2006 Infiniti. The brakes are squeaking again. I got 95,000 miles on it. If all you change is the brake pads, you got new brake pads on old shiny rotors, and they will often squeak. The brake squeezes in the rotor, and the rotor's shiny, it makes them squeak. It's kind of like slipping. It's a high-pitched vibration, actually, but we hear it as a squeak. Rotors aren't cheap. And I mean, you got 95,000 miles. I'm sure they're warm. But if you don't want to go through that, it stops okay, but it makes noise. Do this. Go out and buy 4 Akebono brake pads. It's a Japanese company, A-K-E-B-O-N-O. Put the Akebono pads, and I've done that, and they don't squeak. Even when they got old, worn rotors, they generally will not squeak. You get their Akebono ceramic pads, and they generally will not squeak, even if you don't change the rotors. Because rotors are expensive. You'd have to buy 4 of them. But if it doesn't shake and rattle and it stops good, except that it squeaks, put on the Akebono pads, and they won't squeak. They are high-quality pads, and they're made, the ceramic ones, by Akebono, so that they don't squeak. And I've had people that'll say, you know, your rotors are worn and your pads. What do you want to do? Well, I don't want to spend all this money. I'll say, you want to buy the Akebono pads? Yeah, they might be another $25 a set or something. But they generally won't squeak, even with shiny rotors. Hescott Game says, Nissan Rogue, do I have a failed CVT? I got a 2010 Rogue with 186,000 miles. Ran perfect in the tranny, stopped working, stranded on the highway. A shop wants $8,000 to fix it. Here are the codes: P1564, P15174, P0720, and P1750. Any ideas? I'm screwed by Nissan their CVT. Yeah, you're screwed. You're lucky you got 186,000 miles. I see most of them break before that. You would have to get another transmission. Now, hardly anybody knows how to fix those. So what they're talking about is $8,000 to replace the whole thing. Personally, if I were you, I mean, you got 186,000 miles. There's no way I'd spend $8,000 on that pile of crap. You're not going to get anything for it, though, if it doesn't move on its own power. And you said it just won't move. Stopped on the road, right? If you're a gambling man or woman, roll those dice. Try to get a used CVT transmission put in. I think I'd do that. And he spent like $1,200, bought a junkyard one, had it put in, and it worked, and he sold the vehicle. And at least you'll get more money for it then. It'll be running and going down the road. But I would not put in a used transmission and then drive it much, because it'll probably break soon, too. So, but at least if you could get one for $1,200, $1,300, get it and have it installed, and it works, you can sell the vehicle for a lot more than that. As it stands now, nobody's going to offer you hardly anything for one with a broken transmission, and $186 will probably offer you $400 or $500 for the vehicle. Corn-fed Craig says, my steering's wonky. The steering wheel on my 2014 Pilot with 150,000 miles automatic goes crazy and jerks around, especially in the morning when it's cold. Hell, one of two things is going on. Either your power steering pump is wearing out, or your power steering rack is wearing out. Built up sludge and crud in the rack, it's going against the sludge, and it'll start getting wonky, right? Or if the pumps not, it's wearing out inside, high pressure, low pressure, it'll get wonky too. Now, the first thing I advise you to do is watch my video, Fixing Binding Power Steering. You can flush the system out yourself. Attempt to flush it out. I've done that on many cars, and a lot of times it fixes it and the problem goes away. Now, if flushing doesn't fix it, go get a power steering pump. Change that first, because if it's the racks cost a fortune. It's a gigantic job, and most people won't buy a new rack, because a new rack might be, $2,500, so they'll get a rebuilt one for like $600 or $500, but the rebuilt ones are often junk. But pray that it's just the pump of flushing it out. But flushing it out will often fix it. See, it doesn't when it's cold, mainly because it's cold and it's got to build up the pressure because it doesn't work as well. Once it's hot, it works better. So flushing could help it. And if it doesn't, then change the pump first. Check it out. A northern truck exploded in New York State because of the use of propane. Now, again, you do have to take care of propane. What you have to understand about any explosive gas is it's perfectly fine out in the open. That's what they tell you. Have your propane barbecue in your backyard. It just dissipates into the atmosphere. If there's any leaks, right, it's fine. The problem with gases like propane are if they're in an enclosed area, then they become bombs because then they ignite and they blow up. Because the gas will concentrate in that enclosed area. If it's out in the air, it just woof, away it goes, dissipates into the atmosphere, and nothing happens, right? Well, it turns out this clown left all the propane on overnight, and then boof, up it went. Somehow something started it on fire, went there camping, and boof, away it went. Let's face the facts. You don't want to really be using some kind of propane heating thing when you're sleeping in camper. Get some, 30 below sleeping bags and use them because those things are dangerous. Especially if you're using, I've seen people do it too. They'll use a cooking stove to heat it up. And if you're sleeping with the cooking stove, what happens if it goes off, right? And then the gas is still escaping. Exactly what happens? It blows up. They're not the safest thing. Chefs, right? And they're in the food trucks. They got, take a look at those gigantic vans sucking all the stuff out so they don't have any explosions, right? You don't want to be sitting in an enclosed van in an RV camper with any kind of propane thing running, or you may end up like this did. Luckily, nobody was in it at the time, so nobody was injured, right? But still, it blew up. And it blew up at a campground. It could have hurt somebody. So, turn the propane off at night. If you got an RV, it's only a logical thing to do. Well, if you think that the automotive industry is fraudulent in information they give you, like fake gas mileage ratings, the price of the car, then they add thousands on top of it. I saw something the other day that almost made me throw up. It was an avocado salad dressing, right? For putting on salads. It was a private label. It said, contains no preservatives, right? But when you turned it around and you went to the fine print of ingredients, the ingredients had all kinds of preservatives in it. How can this be? Well, we have very bizarre laws in this country that scumbag corporations use to fool us. And in this case, it turns out that the company that made the bottle that was selling the final product did not add any preservatives. But they didn't make the salad dressing. They bought it from another company. And on the back, the label showed what was actually in the stuff that they had bought to put in their bottle to sell to you. And it was full of preservatives. So, what's the moral of the story? Always read the fine print. Today, these companies can get away with murder, like in food, natural. Natural. What does natural mean? Cyanide's natural. It's on the planet somewhere. All kinds of poisons are natural, right? So don't fall for baloney. Read the fine print. Well, a Tesla Cybertruck just sold for $400,000. Yes, I'm not making this up. Some clown paid $400,000 for a Tesla Cybertruck. Now, it was at a Peterson Gala auction for charity. So when you see the charity, but it wasn't the highest thing. The highest one was GMC's #1 built Hummer truck, the one for $2.5 million. The money is more or less immaterial. There are people giving money to charity. Who the heck is going to pay $2.5 million for an electric Hummer? I mean, the last quarter they only sold like 15 of them or something. Somebody paid $400,000 for a Cybertruck, and good luck to him or her or whoever it is that the thing doesn't fall apart. Like all the other Teslas did when they first came out and had all kinds of problems. We'll see. But hey, I like it because it went for $400,000. It's a fantasy price for a fantasy vehicle that now is coming out. So we'll see what happens when fantasy meets reality and the Cybertrucks hit the road and start falling apart. Now here's some transportation news that you'd have to see in order to believe. So here's a picture. This lady here used a Brazilian butt lift fake rear end to smuggle luggage onto an airline flight. Now, this was Frontier Airlines, and they charge extra if you bring things on, if you buy the cheap tickets, right? She decided she was getting all her extra clothes and stuff, packing her under her clothes, make her butt stick out like she had a Brazilian butt lift. Now, of course, you can't insult a woman by saying, is that your butt or do you have something hiding in there, right? If you're going to carry anything of any immense quantity, well, you can see she probably had a pretty big butt to begin with, which she's obviously proud of. Because she's smiling away, she gets a shotgun of it. She's showing that she hid her clothes there and then came in. Now, what I want to know is, did she spend the entire flight sitting on all those clothes, or did she sneak them out after they've already taken off and went down? That I'd like to know, you know? But warning for all you very thin people that won't work with you because they could tell, right? If you're already big, I guess you could sneak a few things in there and get away with it. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.